60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have.
No one can buy a house anymore. Prices are insane, so...
272,000. That's what they're calling the middle class in San Jose right now.
Social Security disability benefits do not pay people enough money to live on.
%60 of the American public is about to lose everything they have. People living paycheck to paycheck are about to go broke. The GDP numbers came in yesterday, and of course the economy receded, which I predicted 2 months ago, and people laughed. Mark my words, the second quarter is going to be far worse. Tariffs on Chinese products at 145% are about to kick in, which means everything you buy from China on Amazon or elsewhere is about to go through the roof. Grocery store shelves are starting to empty at Walmarts across the country, and of course grocery prices continue to soar. People who've been financing groceries on credit are starting to default on those payments. We are about to see an economic catastrophe. If you're in this 60% that has little or no money, please stop spending money. Protect your family. Trump does not care about you. Even if you voted for him, he's a billionaire. He won't suffer, but you and your family will. Please protect yourself. 60% of the American public.
I live in San Jose. I've been a loan officer here for about 20 years. I've helped a lot of families buy homes in the Bay Area, and I just saw a number that made me pull over and record this. 272,000. That's what they're calling the middle class in San Jose right now. Not rich, not upper class, middle class. If you make $272,000 a year in this city, you, my friend, are average. I need to talk about what's actually happening in California because nobody's being honest about it. The Transparency Foundation just dropped a report, and they do this every year. They take a family of four, middle class, and build out a basic budget. Housing, daycare, health insurance, car insurance, gas, electricity, water, food, the basics. Then they compare California to the national average. You ready? A typical family of four in California pays $29,753 more per year just to live here than the rest of the country. They're calling it the California cost of living penalty. And that's exactly what it is, a penalty for living here. Now, let me break it down. Housing, 124% higher than the national average. You're paying more than double what someone in Texas pays for the same house. Gas, 50% higher. Every fill-up, you're paying a California tax that doesn't exist anywhere else in the country. Electricity, 101% higher. Your PG&E bill is literally twice what someone in Arizona would pay. Childcare, 51% higher. You want to work? Cool. That'll cost you an extra $5,000 a year just to have someone watch your kids. And here's what kills me. California's inflation rate last year was 6.1%. The national average was 2.9%. Our inflation is running 210% higher than the entire rest of the country. So when politicians say inflation's coming down, they're not talking about California. We're still getting crushed. Now, let me show you why this matters. This isn't just numbers. This is your life. A middle-class family in California making $130,000 a year. Well, it sounds like good money, right? Two people making $65K each, solid jobs, doing everything right. After taxes, that family brings home about $7,200 per month. Their cost of living is $9,964 a month. See the problem? They're running a $32,000 annual deficit, going backwards. $32,000 a year just trying to exist. Where's that money coming from? Well, you know better than I do. Credit cards, home equity, retirement accounts, wherever you can dip in to find it. And this isn't some broke family who made bad decisions. This is middle-class people. People who did everything they were told to do. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, work hard. And the math doesn't math. Patrick David tells a story. He took his 5 kids out for ice cream. 1 scoop each on waffle cones. Super basic. The bill came out to $64. He looks at the camera and he says, what average family can pay $64 for ice cream? The answer is, well, they can't. They're putting it on a credit card. And that's why credit card debt just hit $1.25 trillion. That's why car repos are at the highest level they've been since 2009. That's why 60% of people on a business podcast said they're living paycheck to paycheck. The math doesn't work. And everyone's pretending that it still does. Now, here's where I get pissed off because I see this every day. People are drowning. They're maxed out on credit cards, stressed out about money, doing math in their head at the grocery store, trying to figure out if their credit card has enough money on it or if their check got deposited. Come to me and say, Rami, can I refinance? Can I pull some equity out and pay off these credit cards? Get some breathing room. You know what's happening? Banks are denying refinances at 45.7% right now. the highest rate ever recorded. They tell people, sorry, but your debt to income ratio is simply too high. Your credit score has dropped, you don't qualify. But think about why they're saying no. If you got a mortgage at 6.5% and credit cards at 24%, well, the bank makes money on both, high interest on your house and high interest on your cards. If they let you refinance and consolidate, well, they lose the 6.5% mortgage and they lose the 24% credit card income. So they deny you. They keep you stuck. Keep making money while you drown. That's not underwriting. That is a business decision. You are the product. Jeff Snyder from Eurodollar University was breaking this down on PBD's podcast. He said, we're in a labor recession. People don't have enough income, jobs getting cut, banks see your application, but they also see the economy and they say, well, we'd rather keep this person paying high interest rather than take the risk. Your struggle is their profit margin, and that's the game. Look, I'm recording this on Saturday. Thanksgiving is right around the corner on Thursday. Christmas is right behind that. Now, I know what's going on in your house because it's going on in mine too. You're thinking about the turkey, the presents, family coming over, travel, all the stuff that costs money. And in the back of your head, you're doing the math. Can we afford this? Should we put it on the card? How bad is January going to be? That stress that you're feeling, that's not you being bad with money. That's an economy that's broken. A state that charges you $30,000 a year just to exist. Banks that would rather keep you in debt than help you get out. You're not the problem. The system is the problem. But you can't wait for Sacramento to fix it. The banks aren't going to help you. Nobody's coming to save you. You've got to make moves yourself. So here's what I want you to do. If you own a home in California and you're feeling this pressure, the credit cards, the bills, the stress, call me. 20 years doing this, seen every situation. I know products and programs most loan officers don't bother learning because they're harder to close. Now, if another lender told you no, I want to look at it. 45.7% are getting denied, but 55% are getting approved. What's the difference? Well, usually it's finding someone who knows how to structure your deal. I'm not going to hard sell you. I'm not going to run your credit without permission. I'll look at your situation and tell you straight, yes, you qualify, no, you don't, or here's what you need to do to get there. 15 minutes on the phone, and that's it. Because every month you're paying the 24% credit cards that could be at 5%. Hundreds of bucks of interest going to the banks instead of your family. The link's in the description. Email, phone number, text me, whatever's easiest for you. Let's have the conversation. Because $272,000 being middle class and families running $32,000 deficits, that's not normal. And I'm done pretending it is. California is expensive. We know that. But $30,000 a year more than anywhere else, that's not a premium. That's simply punishment. And banks are making it worse, keeping you trapped in high interest debt when there are ways out. I'm Ramin, 20 years in the Bay Area, business law professor, hundreds of families helped, and I'm tired of watching good people drown while banks get rich. Happy Thanksgiving, and I mean that. Go be with your family. But when you're ready to get out of this trap, I'm here.
Life in America.
God have mercy upon us. You think they're wise? Sorry, mumu man.
We didn't decide to move from Florida to Alabama just to have a better house, but that is a plus. All of the costs were adding up. I mean, car insurance, almost $400 a month, property taxes around $6,000, not to mention we were in about 1,600 square feet and on a 5,000 square foot lot. It was not very big. The traffic was absolutely insane. We probably worked around 30 miles from our house and it was taking us around an hour to get to work. But now we can pay $100 in car insurance for both of our vehicles. Property taxes are around $900 a year for our 2,400 square foot house and our half an acre that we are under contract for. So definitely helps with savings. Oh, and we don't have any CDDs or HOA, which we were paying a ton of in Florida. Are you thinking about making the move? Or maybe you already have. Let me know how it's going.
You guys kept asking, how will this get done? Well, be careful what you wish for because this is Policy Deep Dive Housing Edition. When I worked in eviction defense, I once represented this client with 2 young daughters. This man was working 3 jobs at the same time to pay rent and barely got any time to spend with his kids. But he made it work. He always paid his rent on time. Then, one month, a corporate landlord bought his unit and raised his rent by more than 50%. That is the story of California's housing market. Last quarter, a third of all homes sold were bought by investor landlords. These landlords outcompete us on a home and then force us to pay 30, 40, 50% of our income to them on rent. That's not fair. Homes should be for people to live in, not for these investor landlords to invest in. The lieutenant governor is president of the California State Senate. In that position, I will fight for legislation to ban these corporate landlords from owning single-family homes. No Californian should have to work so hard they can't even see their kids just to make rent. Come and lower the rent to get involved in my campaign.
I just love how whenever I make a video explaining how expensive it is to live here in Florida, saying something like my electric bill in December is almost $200 and my water bill is almost $300, I'll always inevitably get the comments from nameless, faceless profiles saying, well, my water bill was only $40 last month, so you must be lying. The bean soup theory continues. Headline: not everybody in the state pays the same rates for water. Shocker, am I right? Look, I tell it how it is. Life is too expensive for me here where I live in Florida. Whether it's housing, electric payments, water payments, car insurance, flood insurance, you name it. Your experience might be different. However, many people's experiences is the same, whether they live in Florida or a different state or even different countries, as you can see from the comments that are mostly positive under most of my videos. But it's really scary seeing the 6th grade literacy rate that I get in some of these troll comments saying, well, this didn't happen to me, so therefore it must not be true. And I feel like we see that more and more throughout different pieces of content throughout the internet, and that's kind of really scary in my opinion. Because that is how more people are starting to think. If it doesn't happen to me, therefore it does not exist. Because the amount of times I've ever changed a troll's mind is this many. I've decided to start focusing on the positive. People who resonate with my videos. People who like what I have to say. Because far more of us are realizing that we are just getting priced out of existence here and that nothing seems to be changing for us. I've said before, I feel like I personally have 3 options with my situation. Change it, leave it, or accept it. And going through all the options, the one that works the best for me is to leave it. That's why my girlfriend and I, we're moving to Europe. Cost of living is going up there too, but you know what? At least we'll have healthcare and pretty damn good food. My name is Zach Abroad. I'm moving to Portugal very soon. If you find that interesting, follow along because I'll be posting the entire journey here. Because I can tell you this, the days of me spending almost $300 on a water bill per month here in the United States are coming to a close.
No one can buy a house anymore. Prices are insane, so we're pushed into renting. And then rent gets so expensive it eats everything, so that stops working too. So we try to adapt. We buy an RV, something cheaper, something simple, and suddenly it's illegal to live in it. Not because it's dangerous, just because it is. So we move into our cars, keep quiet, try to survive, and then that's illegal too. And now you go homeless, living on the street, and you know what? That's f***ing illegal too. At some point, you realize it's not about housing, it's about control, because every direction you turn, there's a rule waiting, and the only thing you're really not allowed to do anymore is exist without...
How much did you guys have to spend at the grocery store today?
$200.
And what'd you get?
You see my bag? I got one bag.
One bag and $200.
Yeah.
How do people afford to live here in California?
They don't. They work paycheck to paycheck.
How much money are you spending here at the grocery store?
It's food stamps and it still ain't enough. I just spent $100 on just these bags you see right here.
Would you be able to survive here without food stamps?
No, I think you need food stamps.
How much did you have to spend on your groceries this week?
$150?
How much were you spending on groceries just 5 years ago?
$50.
How are you able to survive here in California?
I'm just really living off student loans.
How much money are you in debt?
$500K almost.
Social Security disability benefits do not pay people enough money to live on. Right now, the average SSD check in the United States is about $1,630 per month. For many people, that's their entire household income. Now put that next to real life. In most parts of the country, even lower cost areas, a basic 1-bedroom apartment can be close to $1,000 per month. Then you add food, utilities, transportation, and medical expenses. And people on disability don't get to skip those costs. If anything, medical needs make them higher. This isn't about living comfortably. It's about whether a disability benefit actually covers the bare minimum that it takes to survive. For a lot of people, it doesn't. I'm not saying this to discourage anybody from applying for benefits, and I'm not saying people on disability aren't grateful for what they receive. I'm saying that there's a real gap in America between what disability pays and what it costs to live, and pretending that that gap doesn't exist helps nobody. So I want to hear from you. Do you think that Social Security disability benefits should actually reflect a reasonable cost of living? And if you're comfortable, share your story because this conversation matters.